Okay, I broke up this last section of 3.4 into two parts because the first part just kind of has to do more with multiplicity, and this one is more with taking a look at it. And because of the way this function is written, you don't need to worry about finding the factors for it, but what we can do is just apply the transformations that we already know to sketch the graph altogether. So I'm going to do this by breaking it up into a couple of steps in order to get all the transformations in place. And then I'm going to do one example where we'll just do it in 2 steps instead of in 3 steps. Okay, so it says the graph of y is equal to x cubed is transformed to obtain the graph of y is equal to negative 2 times 4 times x minus 3 all cubed plus 3. So we want to state the parameters and describe the corresponding transformation. So what we're going to do is state the parameters is just to state the ABHK values and then describe the transformations. So what we're looking at here is we're comparing this to, and I'm just going to write it up here so we have more space. We're going to compare it to the general equation of y is equal to a times b times x minus h to the power of n, because we don't know in this case it's a degree of 3 or a power of 3, but we could put any power in there depending on the question, and then plus k. So it's still using ABHK. It's just throwing in that n in there because it's a polynomial function. It can have a higher degree than a quadratic. So if we take a look at this, my a value is equal to a negative 2. A negative value means that I'm going to have a reflection in the x-axis, so it's going to flip horizontally, or sorry, flip vertically. And it's going to have a stretch of 2. So describe the transformations. It's going to be a vertical stretch. Oops, I need the word stretch in there. Of 2, a reflection in the x-axis, so what that means, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the y-coordinate by negative 2. And I made that fit. My b value is equal to 4. So that means I'm going to have a horizontal stretch of 1/4. So it's not negative, so I'm not going to have any reflection in the y-axis. So what this means is I'm going to multiply the x-coordinate by 1/4. Whoops. Or I can think of that also as dividing by 4. Means the same thing. My h value. H is equal to 1. So that means I'm going to transform right. Or translate to the right 1, which means that I add 1 to the x-coordinate. My k value was equal to a positive 3, so that means I'm going to translate my graph up. Which means that I'm going to add 3 to the y-coordinate. Now remember it said that when you're doing transformations, you always have to do your stretches before you do your translation. So I can't add and subtract my x and y or sorry, HK values, I have to do my AB first. All right. So the following chart shows the transformations. I'm going to do the first couple and then the rest of them just are calculated out for you. So the first thing, if we're looking at this, this means that I'm going to multiply that to the y, I'm going to divide that to the b, I'm going to add that to the x, and I'm going to add that, oops, that should be a y, add the k to the y. So, step number 1 is x divided by b. So if my b value is a 4, or 1/4, sorry, that's going to be that 1/4, then that's the same as if you're doing x divided by 1/4, that's the same as saying 4 times x. So I take each of my x values. Sorry, no, I did say that. I had it right the first time. This is what all I'm doing here in this part here is I'm just forgetting about everything else that's in my equation, in my original equation. I'm just looking at that 4x cubed. So because b is a 4, that means I have to divide each one of my x coordinates by 4. So -2 divided by 4, that's -2 over 4, so that's the same as -0.5. So that becomes a -8. -1 divided by 4 is -1/4, so that's the same as -0.25, and my y stays -1. Now if I take a look at the a value, this -2 means that I have to multiply each of my y's by -2. So I've already taken care of the b, so I'm going to just put those in. So if I take a look at my y value, it was -8. -8 times -2 leaves me with a positive 16. -1 times -2 means I have a positive 2. If I look at the 0, 0, 0 divided by 4 is 0. And then over here, -2 times 0 is 0. So that doesn't change it. So then the last part is to take your x value, and I'm going to add 1, and your y value, and add 3. So -1/2 plus 1, sorry, -0.5 plus 1 leaves me with 0.5, and then 16 plus 3 is 19. -0.25 plus 1 is 0.75, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So if I try it for my next point, 0, 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 0 plus 3 is 3. Okay, so the other ones, the calculations are already done for you, but this is all they would have done. They would have multiplied 1 by 4, so 1/4, and then 2 by 4, 2 divided by 4 is a half, 1 times -2 is -2, 8 times -2 gives you that -16, and then add 1 to these, and 3 to get those coordinates. So now it's just a matter of plotting them. So since my y is equal to x cubed is in blue, I'm going to choose red for my transform graph. So 0.5 and 19. 0.5 and 19, this is, what are these going? 16, 18, 20, so they're going up by half. So that'll be right there, about. 0.75 and 5. Those are positive, so 0.75 and 5 would be about right here. 1 and 3. Here is 1 and 3 will be about there. 1.25 and 1. So 1 1/4 and 1. One and a half and negative 13. So I just have to move this down. 1 1/2 and negative 13. Here's negative 12. So negative 13 is going to be about there. So my graph is doing this. So it's squished in a little bit because of that, my stretch up here, my vertical stretch of 2, and then it's flipped. Okay, so let's try this for another graph. I have y is equal to negative 4 times 2 times x plus 2 all cubed minus 5. And I didn't give you, oh no, it's below, okay. A is equal to negative 4, b is equal to 2, h is equal to negative 3. Oops, sorry, negative 2. Looking at the degree instead of the value. H is equal to negative 2, and k is equal to negative 5. And my a is equal to negative 4 means that I'm going to have that flip reflection in the x-axis. It's a factor of 4, so it's going to be vertical stretch. My b value was a 2, so that means that I'm going to have a horizontal stretch by a factor of 1/2. B is equal to 2, so it's a 1/2. And I'm going to shift it to the left, negative 2, and down, negative 5. So what you want to do then is you think of what are your transformations. We did x divided by b, whoops, plus h, and then I did a times y plus k. So you start at your y is equal to x cubed. So just using your values, xy was negative 2, negative 8, negative 1, negative 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 8. So all I've done is I've substituted negative 2 cubed equals negative 8, negative 1 cubed equals negative 1, 0 cubed is 0, 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8. So now my first transformation, I'm going to do my a and my b together. So what I'm really doing is this. I'm doing y is equal to negative 4, 2x cubed. So I'm not worrying about my h and k, I'm just doing that. So that means I'm doing whatever my x value was, and I'm dividing it by b, or in this case, negative 4, or sorry, 2. And my h, not my h, my y, I'm multiplying by 2. Okay, so this is going to look like x divided by 2. Too bad I can't get my numbers right today. Sorry about that. Negative 4 times y. So x over 2 and negative 4 times y. I didn't have to write it twice. Doesn't matter. Okay, so negative 2 divided by 2 leaves me with a negative 1. Negative 8 times negative 4 is a positive 32. So this is my transformation. Negative 1 divided by 2 is negative 1/2. This should have been an a, that's why I goofed up there. And then negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. For 0, 0, 0 divided by 2 is 0. Negative 4 times 0 is just 0. 1. 1 divided by 2 is a half. 1 times -4, -4. And then I do my 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 times -4 is -32. So now what I want to do is I want to do my next transformation, which would be to go to my x plus 2 all cubed minus 5. So that means that whatever my x value was, my transformation now is going to be that x plus h, so it's going to be x minus 2, and my y plus k, my k was a -5, so that's my final transformation to all these points. So -1 minus 2 is a -3. 32 minus 5, 27. -1/2 minus 2 is -2.5. 4 minus 5 is -1. 0 take away 2 is -2. 0 take away 5 is -5. 1/2 minus 2 is -1.5. -4 minus 5 is -9. And then the last one, -1 minus 2 is -3. Or sorry, that's a positive one. 1 minus 2 is -1. -32 minus 5 is -37. So now I can do my transformations. So my original graph, y is equal to x cubed. I'll do that one in blue, so it was 0, 0. And I think I'm going to have to go by 2's on my going up the y. And by, I'll just go, what do we have? Yeah, every second one. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, -3, -4. And then each one of these is going to be going up by 2 on the y. So 2, 4, 6, 8, you can get the picture. So I was at -2 and -8. So -2 and 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. -1 and -1. So -1 is here. And -1 on the y will be halfway, so about right there. 0, 0. And then it was at 1 and 1. And then at 2 and 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So my original graph is going sort of like that. So my transformed graph then, -3 and 27. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 27. 2, 4, 6, 8. Positive, yeah. 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. So halfway in between is about there. -2.5 and -1. So -2.5 and -1 is right there. Just gonna take that dot where I paused. I should be doing these in red, sorry. That's a bad dot, but okay. Then it was at -2 and -5. So -2 right there and -5, 2, 4, 5 is about right there. And then it's -1.5 and -9. So -1.5 and 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And then -1 and -37. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, what is it? 30, 32, 34, 36, so about right there. So my graph is going kind of like, whoops, and I can't see by. Kind of like that. My line went a little goofy here because I couldn't see where I was drawing. Okay, that's it. So the questions for this one are on page 148. You've already assigned one kind of 1 to 8 for the first part, so you can do for the whole section if you did 1 to 10, 13, and 14. So 1 to 8 was from the last section, so basically 9, 10, 13, and 14 are what you're looking at to finish this off.